20 years of friendship ended over a wedding. She was obsessed with the groom. When I called her out, she stranded me 4 hours away. I spent $800 to get home, and no more. Becky, 31F, and I, 31F, have been best friends for 20 years. In high school, we became close with Ryan and Daniel, and the four of us did everything together. Becky has always been fixated on Ryan. If he liked a girl, she would tear her apart or make passive-aggressive comments until it was uncomfortable. When he had girlfriends, she would openly criticize them and act like they weren't good enough for him. Eventually, she started doing the same thing to me. She would make comments to downplay my friendship with Ryan or subtly compare us, like she needed to prove she mattered more. It felt competitive for no reason, but I ignored it for years. Fast forward to Ryan's wedding last month. Becky and I drove together and shared a hotel. The passive-aggressive comments started again. She said I would not even be at the wedding if it was not for her, even saying things like that in front of other people. Later, in the hotel, she complained that Ryan did not spend enough time with her. She actually said, "Sorry to you and Daniel, but he should at least want to spend time with me." After years of this, I snapped and said, "What a weird thing to say out loud." She immediately escalated and said, "Oh what? You really think that Ryan and I aren't better friends?" and brought up that he asked her to help design the engagement ring. I said, "I don't care who's closer, but it's weird that you care this much. It's not our fault you're in love with him." She stormed out and, instead of coming back, she drove off and left me stranded 4 hours away with no way to get back. The next morning I couldn't rent a car because I only had a debit card, so my only option was a same-day flight back to where I live across the country, which cost $800. I sent her an angry text and a Venmo request. She hasn't responded and we haven't spoken in a month. I'll admit saying she's in love with him was harsh, and the text I sent after was not my best moment. We're supposed to talk tomorrow. Ida? Top comments. Commenter 1. Was this 4 hours away or across the country? OOP. We met in our hometown. I flew in from out of town, which is 4 hours away from where the wedding was, but I live across the country. I am in the US. Commenter 2. NTA ditching your friend without a way home is a safety issue. You had every right to be upset, especially when that came with a $800 plane ticket. I wouldn't say she's a friend anymore. Commenter 3. Unfortunately, you will never get money from her, and I doubt you would win in small claims court. Best to move on and go no contact with her. Nta. Commenter 4. True, but that outstanding bill she wants to collect will help immensely with enforcing the no contact portion of this advice. So personally, I would make a point to demand the money, just so they'd fuck off and never talk to me again. I wanted to address some common questions/comments first. For hours versus across the country, I'm in the US and flew from the West Coast to the East Coast. We wanted extra time together since we don't see each other often, so I flew into my hometown, about 4 hours from the wedding, instead of somewhere closer. This sounds like teenager drama, totally fair. I think that's part of why I snapped. It felt like, are we really still doing this at 30? It's also a sign I should have addressed this sooner. Rental car issue. I was told I couldn't use a debit card unless I had a license from that state. Otherwise, it had to be a credit card. No credit card. I had debt in my early 20s, which is long paid off, but I've avoided credit cards since. This situation made me realize I should have one for emergencies. Why not bus/train? I looked into it. Neither would have gotten me back in time for my return flight. A train home would have taken almost 3 days and cost about the same. My options were flying out of the closest airport or trying to get back to my original airport 4 hours away. Either way, I needed a same-day flight. Venmo request. I sent it out of anger. I told her later I don't expect her to pay me back. Now for the update. We had the call and it wasn't productive. I apologized for what I said and that it was below the belt, especially the "in love with Ryan" comment. I acknowledged it was hurtful and told her I wouldn't say things like that again. I apologized for the text and Venmo request, explained they came from anger, and made it clear I don't expect her to pay me back. I explained that her comments have been a long-standing pattern I never addressed, but should have. When I brought up being left stranded, She didn't acknowledge it at all and became defensive. She started crying and asked if we could just go back to how things were. I told her I didn't think that was possible. After the call, I realized this isn't something we can come back from. I'm willing to work through a lot, especially when I have a role in things, but the lack of remorse or even acknowledgement for leaving me stranded made that clear. As many said, this hasn't been a real friendship for a while. It wasn't always like this, but over time the dynamic shifted in ways I kept overlooking or brushing off instead of addressing. I think I held on to it because of the history. During the month we didn't talk, I actually felt at peace, which says a lot. I realized that not dealing with her behavior earlier probably contributed to it becoming a more explosive conflict than it would have been if I had addressed it sooner. I appreciate the honest feedback. I'm still sad about letting go of a friendship I cared about, but I know I'll be okay. Top comments. The fact that she completely dismissed leaving you stranded plus costing you $800 unexpected dollars out of pocket and continued to cry about her hurt feelings shows that this person is massively immature and incapable of being a friend to anyone. She's not even a true friend to Ryan, who she's clearly obsessed with, because if she was, she wouldn't be trying to sabotage his relationships plus now marriage. She'd want him to be happy. She sounds like a narcissist who isn't Lee.